One day I'm gonna be everything I wanna be. I don't let it get the most of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be everything I'm gonna be. My future right in front of me. One day I'm gonna be free. I wanna be free. So let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm standing at the crossroads, feeling like a lost soul. Don't know where I wanna go, but all I know is I wanna be free. They're telling me to let it be, but that just ain't in me, no. Jealousy and envy, but all I see is I wanna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Don't let it get the most of me. Eventually, I'm gonna be free. See everything I wanna be, exactly what I'm gonna be. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I'm gonna be free. Let me be free. One day I'm gonna be free. Mentally and physically, emotionally and spiritually. Yeah. One day I'm gonna be free. I told them take their aim off me. Stop trying to get a name off me. If they would just let me be, I'm gonna be free. I told them take them chains off me and throw away the locks and keys. If they would just let me be, eventually I'm gonna be free. Free.
They're back.
What up, though? 7 days, and we back again for another episode of Dominant Effect. Marsh Bishop, we got Mike Ball, we got Aaron Olinger. What's up, everybody? Glad everybody tuning in. Those of you on YouTube and also Facebook, welcome. We got a story for you today. We're gonna pop on. We got a lot of information on this, and this is kind of a story where we're going to be addressing more towards the audience itself and not necessarily all the things that's going on, but all the things that's going on kind of intermingles right along with it. So what we're going to talk about today is the overall lie that everything is going to come back to normal. And if you've been waiting for things to come back to normal, this episode, it may upset you. And let me say this, I'm not here to try to scare you, by no means at all. But because I'm going to explain to you, well, we're all going to explain to you the reason why normal and everything that we perceive as being normal is not coming back, and why that realization might actually set you free. Somewhere along the way, life as we know it began not feeling as solid as it used to be. Plans feel fragile. Stability sometimes feel temporary, and a lot of people feel that they're stuck in this holding pattern that they can't get out of, waiting for permission to basically live again. But what if waiting isn't actually what's keeping you stuck? So the the overall normal that we're all used to didn't break when, let's go back to like 2020 when the lockdown started. And I think that's when a lot of people first started the realization that things wasn't quite the way it used to be, and nor was it going to go back that way.
Right.
So you had policies changed, and a lot of people realized that the rules pretty much changed overnight, and no one could explain what was going to happen next. Um, and for most of modern life, people believe that tomorrow would mostly resemble the same thing that happened yesterday and the day before that. But jobs, money plans, and even trust institutions were built on that same assumption. But like I said, right around 2020, that predictability disappeared. Supply chains stopped, authorities um, contradicted each other as they do every day now, and the narrative shifted from week to week. That moment did something subtle but permanent. It shattered that sense that life was stable and it was controllable. Even when things were reopened, that confidence never fully came back to everyone. But once that predictability died, normal can't be restored because the belief that made it feel normal is gone. So um, let me drop you an example. Matter of fact, I'll drop you a couple examples. Um, for instance, people used to plan vacations, weddings, jobs. Um, jobs move from year to year without thinking twice about it.
Man, people don't even go out to eat anymore.
Right. Suddenly, everything felt tentative. Even now, people hesitate to plan 6 months ahead of time because there's an underlying fear that something could change overnight. Another example, someone could work the same job 10, 15, 20 years and then suddenly realize that that loyalty that they gave to that job didn't necessarily guarantee stability. You had layoffs, you had remote shifts, restructuring. Even when employed, the confidence was actually gone. People watch guidelines, policies, and messaging that changed from week to week. That shock wasn't disagreement, it was realizing that no one thing seemed certain anymore. And when that happened, your trust was cracked. Now, if all of that sounds familiar to you, it's because millions of people are quietly experiencing the exact same thing. They just haven't heard it being explained yet. So this is what we're going to talk about tonight. So a lot of this, stuff that's actually been going on, and if you think about the overall changes that's been going on, and as we've seen this year, primarily, a lot of things have changed. Um, a lot of things have changed since 2020, but this year in particular, a lot of things have changed, and a lot of things are going to change in the upcoming near future. Um, but waiting doesn't feel dangerous. It feels reasonable, and the reason why that works is because people tell themselves that I'll start this back up when everything settles down a little bit, or this is only temporary, or I'll plan for this later on. But waiting and doing that waiting slowly drains your motivation, your identity, your purpose, your whole emotional energy. The Now I study psychology, and I'm in school, and one thing that you learn is that the nervous system stays at a low level stress release. Okay, and life during that time, life feels paused. um, even though time keeps moving, which creates guilt, numbness, sometimes burnout, and people kind of mistake that laziness or depression as being like a loss of momentum, so to speak. But what's the real cost of losing that momentum? Because once you lose that momentum, it's harder to rebuild than people realize. You know, giving yourself those excuses that, okay, I'll wait a little bit, or I'll wait for it to settle down, or this is only a temporary thing, or whatever. Um, to you, that's a common mechanism that makes you think like, okay, this is all going to slow down. Eventually, everything is going to go back to normal and go back to the regular status quo. But that's not actually what this is. A lot of things are going to be changing, and it's going to be changing soon. Um, and the quicker that we realize that, the better off we're all going to be. But I'm gonna hit with you first, Aaron, and see what you got for us.
Well, I would agree with you. I'm gonna say the moment Normal broke was February 2020, and the funny thing about people is people like routines, they like comfort, they like predictability. People are resistant to unexplored territory. I mean, you get into a routine of doing the same thing all the time, you can just about do it sleepwalking. There's there's a certain amount of comfort, certain amount of stress freeness with that. But when you're dealing with something that's totally unexplored territory all the time, well, that's a totally different ball game. I mean, in 2020, what did we experience? We experienced just-in-time system going down. That's what the whole country runs on. We saw product shortages. Uh, why did the trust not come back? I mean, we alienated, what was it, 20, 30, 40% of the population because they refused to be vaccinated. The President Biden went on the air and made it seem like you're going to get what's coming to you. People were fired from their jobs. I mean, these were jobs that they've had forever. These were career jobs. And if they didn't become vaccinated, they were fired. People were forced to have to learn to do without. Once the product shortages started happening, people were rushing out buying toilet paper, about mobbing each other. There were travel restrictions. There were certain states didn't want you coming to their state if you came from certain states that the COVID was broke out real bad in. I mean, we lost predictability. And with that, we lost a certain amount of comfort. I mean, it comes down to when people are comfortable, even though we know now that's not the reality, it comes down to that old saying, it's the difference between the devil you know and the devil you don't. Okay. You know, like in a relationship, you might be single most of your life. And yes, the devil you know is loneliness. You've learned how to adapt to it. It's uncomfortable around the holidays, but you can accept it versus taking on somebody that will have your emotions bouncing off the walls and you don't know what to expect day to day. There's no predictability there. There's no way that you can adapt or adjust. So, I mean, it came down to people having to make the decisions between the devil you know and the devil that you don't. I mean, nostalgia. People want to think back on 2019, how wonderful things was. Everybody's working, money's flowing. But when your job changes, you lose your job, you're moving from house to house, or in anything that's major, you think back on nostalgic times because that's a way of comforting yourself and comforting your stress levels. But what people didn't realize was, that's what Carl Schwab said, Klaus Schwab said with the World Economic Forum, that a pandemic can be used as a chance to advance things forward at a much rapid rate. So was that pandemic by accident, or was it designed on purpose to take people into a new system against their will? They can get a little bloody nose, they can go kicking or screaming, but they could hold on to the ideal because we're being told by the media, yes, there's going to be, we're going to go back to normal as soon as this COVID is over with. But what they didn't see was the institutions, the corporations, everybody was jockeying for position and they were moving forward. The rest of the ones that were believing that propaganda that we're going to go back to the normal or normalcy, they were being left behind, and they didn't realize it. I mean, the world was adapting, but the people were on pause because of fake information that they was receiving, that we were going to go back to the way things were. Things was never going to be what they were. I mean, they told us many times later that this is the new normal. And in survival, there's an old saying that it's not the strongest that will survive. It's not the smartest that will survive. It's the people who can adapt to change the quickest. Those are going to be the ones that's going to make it. This new world we're going into, in order for people to do well in it, in order for them to prosper in it, they're going to have to look for opportunities and adapt to this new system. Without that, they're going to go the way of the dinosaur. So, but let me stop there for right now. I don't want to get too far ahead, but
So
I'll
real
stop
quick, I just want to give a big shout out. We got Naomi coming in with $4.99 saying respect to Mr. AB, Mr. Aaron, and of course, Mr. Ball. Always appreciate you, Naomi. Thank you for that, as well as hit that dono button, y'all. Absolutely. Thanks for making it rain. Yeah, when it comes down to this, one thing that you pointed out, Aaron, was that people are not really good with change in the aspect of like, oh, and a lot of people are asking, what is even normal? Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, we are living in the new normal. You know, that's the time frame you're in. It's the new normal at that time. I don't think that we'll ever, quote unquote, go back to any type of normality. That's just the way I have a worldview of. But nonetheless, Aaron, what do you think? I think that's the biggest issue going to be in people, is that they're not going to be able to accept a change or whatever the case is, and they get stagnant in that aspect.
And I feel that you're right. I mean, just with AI coming in, replacing jobs, and you're going to have to look for opportunities in labor type intensive things like plumbing, electrical, things that AI cannot do. And you're going to have to look for opportunities for side work. You know, can you go in and help clean some gutters out for somebody? Can you do lawn care? Can you garden, help the elderly put in a garden or something?
So are you worth a shit?
Yeah, there's going to be opportunities, but you got to be smart enough to see them, because in all adversity, there's always seeds of mutual assent that if you play your cards right and you adapt to what's coming on, you're going to be okay. I mean, I saw umpteen videos today getting ready for this show of people living in storage lockers, people living in their cars. I mean, it's going to get worse. And my heart goes out to them. And man, I just couldn't believe that people are that stuck. But we all have the chance to choose. I mean, we got to change our mindsets. And in changing that mindset, we can find opportunities or talk with people who see those opportunities and will share some knowledge with you to help get you started or get you going in the right direction. Because it's easy that once you get into that, you'll get into like a funk, a depression, and you lose all of your drive, that fire in your heart. You're losing it. It feels like it's just being pulled out by the roots, because this new system we're going in and what you were so used to and was thriving in, it's being taken away. So you have to adapt. You have to change, and the change starts first with the mind, the mindset, and then the body will follow. And you got to start planning long-term goals. Don't get in the I'm just living for today mode. That's what's got you in the position you're in now. You got to have long-term goals, something to work towards. You have to have a plan. This living for today it's going to be self-destruction in the end. So,
Well, I think that's right on a financial level as well. I mean, on many of these levels, there's many things that we're talking about in an environment. But financially, look at where the dollar is right now, right?
yeah, I
You know,
mean,
this is going to just continue and continue, and unfortunately, people that are already fucked, it's not going to get any better for you.
and just like emotional exhaustion, I mean, when you look at someone, you say, well, they're not doing nothing. They're just lazy. Are they truly lazy? Because, or are they emotionally exhausted? Are they, because emotional exhaustion, that's burnout. Okay. They're just burned out. They've tried everything they know to do, and now they're lost. They're just burned out. And again, all action begins with a thought. If you're emotionally burned out, how can you make a plan? You know, laziness is a form of mental exhaustion and being unwilling to work. But if you're emotionally exhausted, man, where are you going to find the inspiration? What's going to be your muse? So, right now, 2025 was the year of chaos in my books. 2026 and 2027 is going to be direct change. And change is going to happen so fast that if people are not careful, they're going to get left behind. And you don't want to be left behind in the coming economies. You don't want to be living beyond your means in the coming economy. Everything's going to start tightening up. Prices are going to continue to go up. The pressure is going to be put on you. So first, all action begins with a thought. You have the right to choose which direction you're going to go in. Better be choosing now, and you better be making some long-term plans. You need a 2-year goal and a 5-year goal. If you don't have those in place, you got nothing to work toward. Where's your motivation? Where you gonna find that fire in your heart at? But let me stop there for right now.
You remember, you know, just sitting here listening to you talking, Aaron. I know this to be, but you remember how people would say, you remember how simple it was before all this stuff went on, and back when things made sense, and back in the day when life felt easier, you know. And they're not talking about money in politics. They're talking about that overall emotional feeling behind it.
Right.
Because, I mean, whether we believe it or not, the brain kind of clings to familiar pain rather than unfamiliar change. Humans don't always crave happiness. They crave familiarity. That going back to normal is like emotional self-protection. It avoids grief. It avoids any kind of loss. And then that nostalgia spike during the instability, because it makes them feel safer.
So cope and nostalgia combined.
Right. You know, like it makes them feel safer. The future feels undefined. And then when you had the institutions that was just quietly like stepped in. So then you had the digital acceleration, you had the automation, centralization. And then when all those happened, people just kind of like emotionally froze because they really didn't understand what all was going on. So it's basically like the world was moving forward, but people just kind of stayed emotionally parked. They didn't go anywhere. They kind of clung to what it was that they knew, and that was it. You know, so like for instance, like someone that planned a career path and that no longer exists now. Instead of adapting, they kept trying to force themselves into a future that basically just felt hollow. They didn't have anywhere to go. Then you have like friendships and family dynamics formed on their old circumstances, old assumptions that in this day, now they feel strained because people grew in different directions. And that nostalgia there keeps them from being preserved and keep something that they already had. But being that things changed, everything kind of changed along with it. So it's hard to move forward when you're measuring today's events based on yesterday. And it becomes this cycle that you just kind of never go away from. You just there. You know what I mean? You have that that kind of I'll stop when syndrome, or I'll start when this happens, or when you're dealing with, like, for instance, like you're trying to start a business, or you want to go back to school, or you plan on having a child, or starting a family.
What is it with human beings that do that? Why do we do that?
Well, it's like I said, it goes back to that familiarity stage, and it basically a lot of people don't adapt to change the way some other people do.
Right. Some people just can't accept it.
Exactly. So like I'll give you an example. Like, people feel exhausted even though they're not doing much. That's because the waiting is actually mentally taxing, but the body stays in stress mode because you're not able to release it. You know what I mean? So it's like you're wearing yourself out, but you're not doing shit. You know what I mean? You ever seen somebody that kind of, like, they really sat there all day long, they didn't do nothing, and then by 5, 6 o'clock, like, oh man, I'm so tired. Like, you ain't done shit. That example. Then you have, like, the lost confidence part, where people no longer wait, and it feels hard for them to actually have to start over, restart life again. Or just like I said, you want to go to school, or how many times you heard somebody say, yeah, I'm gonna go to school next semester, and next semester turns to next year, which turns to the next year after that, and eventually they just never go, because the whole momentum part of that fades. The self-trust basically erodes away, and that whole thought of even going back to school kind of feels harder than what it actually should have. You know what I mean? Instead of you actually going out and doing it, you coming up with all these reasons not to do it. Okay, I got this to do. Now this came up. Now I got to worry about this. You know what I mean? And a lot of times that waiting doesn't feel like a decision, but it really is when you think about it, because it's like a system that's built inside of you that doesn't go forward. It likes to stay in reverse. You know what I mean? You keep sitting here waiting for all this stuff to come back the way it used to be, but the way things are changing now with the economy. Now we talking about digital IDs, and we talking about all this cashless system that they're talking about, that they've been promoting in these other countries and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff is coming, whether we want it to come or not. And we're going to have to come to the realization that this is what it's going to be, and prepare for it before it engulfs you and you don't know what to do. What do you think about that, Aaron?
Well, I think you're 100% right. I mean, people are going to have to start over the next 2 years. People are going to have to start thinking strategically right now. I mean, the people you choose to have in your life, do they motivate you or do they drain you? That's family as well as friends. You're going to have to cut the dead weight. You can't be dragging dead weight forward. Then you got your career. What are your careers going to be? Will your job carry you through this new AI revolution? The digital ID, will you still have work, or do you need to re-educate yourself? Do you need to start you a home business or something, have some side work to bring in extra money? What are your 2-year goals? What are your 5-year goals? If you're so demotivated and you're in a funk, you're in a depression, I mean, mental health is vital. And if you're not getting energy from your environment, you need a new group of people to be around right now. I hate to say that, but energy is contagious, and negative energy is the worst you could be taking on, and letting people use you and abuse you. And then you got all this pressure on you from society and from the corporate institutions, and political framework and the propaganda that's being fed to you. I mean, you're on a 360-degree attack from all sides,
Mm-hmm.
and it's time to circle the wagons.
Well, this, yeah, I'm someone that is like, listen, if you're gonna be a drag on me at this point, I'll drop you like a bad fucking habit. I don't care for family. I mean, that's at this point, dude. Either get with it or not. I mean, I don't allow that negativity to affect my life. So if they're gonna be negative people or whatever the case is, I just don't allow cancerous people to be around me.
I mean, I hate to use the Bible, but I'm gonna use Noah's example. 110 years to build the ark. Just talked about, family shunned, everybody laughing at them. Everybody ain't meant to be saved. You can't save everybody. So right now, you're going to have to start thinking strategically. You're going to have to pick and choose who's going to be in your life. You have to pick and choose what goals you're going to be striving for, and they have to be realistic. It can't be, well, I'm going to be a millionaire in 2 years. You don't know that.
Mhm.
Oh shit! He just
Somebody
got a
done-
phone
somebody
call.
called him.
Yeah. All right. We'll out him back when he gets back. He's gonna get frustrated because when he comes back, he's got to realize that you got to leave the studio completely and then come back in. Otherwise, you have no audio.
Right.
So
I think that happened to him a couple times before, didn't it?
it has. It has.
He get right into, he get to going, and all of a sudden, beep. he's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah. He gets pissed off too. He gets pissed.
Man. So when you're thinking about that, oh, hold on. I think he's getting ready to pop back in.
Yeah. No. It looked like it was gonna work, but it didn't.
Yeah, he probably gonna.
Yeah,
he
there
gonna-
you go.
he gonna have to
Yeah.
all the way out. He got to go all the way out.
What's up, Stacks?
Yeah. So when I was thinking about this whole thing and thinking about what it was that we've been. Oh, you back with us now?
Oh man,
Oh,
I'm
now
sorry.
you decide to be here.
My phone rang. I can't. It takes me off the air when my phone
Yeah.
rings, and I tell everybody, don't call me on Wednesday at a certain time.
So, Aaron, by the way, when that happens, anytime you get called, if you as soon as you come back in, you have to leave and then go back, into the studio. Otherwise, you have no audio. It's a glitch.
Okay, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're good.
Oh,
You're
no.
good.
Okay.
You
But-
remember where you were at?
Yeah. Again, your people are going to have to think strategically. We gotta figure who's going to be in our lives. You can't save everybody. Noah couldn't save everybody, and you don't want nobody dragging you down. You got to cut the dead weight. We got to be ready to run lean and mean. Get the fire back in your heart. I mean, God put us here to prosper, not to suffer. So, again, it's my choice. Do I want to start prospering, or do I want to keep dragging and dealing with the same old all the time and be miserable all the time? The mindset has to change first, and then you could go from there. I mean, right now you look at what's going on with AI, digital ID, social credit system, all this stuff that's coming forward, the new money, digital currency. You could clearly see that the institutions and corporations and the policies that are being invoked on the people are evolving. They're not going backwards. We're not going back into the nostalgia days of the 60s and the 70s with the free love and everybody's partying. No, this is going to be survival of the fittest. And it's going to be the people that can adapt to change the quickest. So they better be looking for it. Normal ain't coming back, at least not what you're thinking it's going to be. And as the world moves forward, you want to be moving with it. You don't want to be getting drugged by the train. You want to be on the train. So I just tell people it's time to develop a new mindset, get a lot of positive mental attitude going, have positive people in your life, cut the dead weight, and move forward. I'll stop there.
Get yourself gold and silver and lots of guns to protect that gold and silver too.
Yeah, the like I said, the old way of normal, depending on the conditions that we are now, that it no longer exists. You take like cheap energy, no longer exists. You know, they're talking about energy prices just this year that spiked up with 13,
Mhm.
14%.
Mhm.
You got global trust around the world. That's fading. The overall social cohesion is at risk. Um, but then too, when those things are gone, the system just, like you said before, it just doesn't reverse. You have to learn to adapt to whatever's going on, whether people want to or not. But the stability today doesn't come from these institutions. It comes from actual capability. And what I mean by that is like real stability now looks like um, going back to school, picking up adaptable skills, um, emotional resilience, multiple income paths that we've talked about several times, strong personal relationships, not only with your family but also with your community, and building that that trust in your community. We've talked about several times because when things happen, you know, I mean, a lot of times your community, if you have that bond with them, is going to be able to you can actually
How
form
many
a lot of
people
this
do you
stuff
think
in
actually
front.
got a community though? Like where they're a part of a community? How many people are actually doing, a part of it like that? And not a lot of people really are nowadays. I mean, COVID really changed a lot of shit
Yeah, it did. It
in
did
that
because the
aspect
old.
too.
You're right. You're absolutely right. It did change a lot because that old model kind of promised security through compliance and longevity, but the new model is more towards flexibility, learning, and self reliance. You know, being able to fend for yourself if you need to. And the way things are going, you're going to need to, because stability is no longer about just performance. It's about recoverability and how fast you can adjust when these things change. Um, but a lot of people tend to try to keep holding on to that normal and try to keep that power outside yourself and letting it go, and actually letting it go of that old normal, and just bringing in a lot of these new skills and new mindset. It it brings the power back to you as instead of it being out here and you
But
just
people get
accept it.
convicted in their stances. They're like super convicted once they've made up their mind that this is the way. And then as soon as the world tells them they're wrong, they still won't. Most people double down. They're like, no, fuck, you don't know shit.
Well,
Right.
they'll be sleeping in the storage lockers and sleeping in their cars because what's coming in 2026, 2027, 2028 isn't no joke. And if you can't adapt, you're not going to make it. Not in the world that's coming. I mean, the old world is gone. I cannot bring back the 60s or 70s. Whatever year is the best year of my life, I cannot bring that back. It's over with. It's up to me to decide day to day how I'm going to plan my day, how I'm going to move forward, what I'm going to do for the future, how I'm going to help my grandchildren to build generational wealth for them. Everything is a decision. It's mental. You got to change that mindset first. I mean, even people in my life, uh, I was somewhat of a recluse. Bishop has kind of brought that out of me now, but I was somewhat of a recluse. I kept information to myself. I stayed off to myself because I got tired of people making fun of me. But then I decided, I saw what was coming down the pipeline. I'm like, I'm going to build me a community. I've got me a plumber. I've got me an auto mechanic, and they laugh and joke when I tell them that they're part of my community. But everyone that's in my community are people I know I can trust. If anybody's sketchy, you're not moving forward with me. You might read my posts on Facebook or something, but that's the extent of our connection. You can't come and ask me for my help or my resources in any kind of way, uh, because you've made your bed hard. You burnt the bridge. You can't cross that bridge with me no more. This world we're going into, I don't have time for sketchy people. Uh, and same way with the gun shows. I mean, if a certain point comes to where my side business doesn't earn money anymore, I'm living far enough below my means that my social security and my retirement check, I can live on that. and I can live comfortably on that.
Most people cannot do that
Right.
because they scale with their income. You know, that anytime that they gain more money, they always seem to use it in some sort of bill, a new whatever. It's consumed somehow, right?
Right.
And a lot of people just suffer with the consumerism. I mean, the mass consumerism that we have. We need to learn
And
how to really be below our means.
right. And
Way below.
that's how payday loans made their money. That's
Yep.
how loans against your cars made their money. They're taking your cars from you. They're taking your last assets from you. Pawn shops make money off of people that can't live below their means because they're constantly pawning their valuables and their assets, and they're giving them nothing for it. There's predators out there ready to prey on you. And like I said, you're in attack 360 degrees all the way around you. You got to be evolving, you got to be adapting, and you got to be looking for opportunities, and don't let them pass you by, because there's not going to be a whole lot when this AI and digital ID and social credit scoring and all that stuff starts taking over. People are going to become homeless behind this mess, and can't say that nobody didn't tell you.
Yeah.
But I'm like Noah. I'm building me an ark, and I'm trying to put the word out there for others to do the same. But if you choose to ignore the word, you know, the
Absolutely.
power of choice is yours. But
Facts.
I'll stop there. I'll stop there.
You know, like I said before, millions of people are quietly experiencing this same thing that we're talking about right now.
Mhm.
And I mean, even us just sitting on here right now talking about it, I'm pretty sure we all got that same experience. But I'm gonna ask a question to the chat, and this is not for you guys to answer, but just for the people in the chat. And
All
my
right.
question is, what part of your life have you been waiting to restart once everything feels normal again? Say it one more time. What part of your life have you been waiting to restart once you feel normal again? Put your answer in the chat. We'll see what you come up with. But one of the other things I want to say, but waiting for normal keeps people suspended under grief and hope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know, you hope that this turns around. You hope that this becomes better. You know what I mean? And it kind of quietly drains you. And because a lot of people in society is basically stuck in limbo, sorry. And they become passive, easily distracted, and eventually you become like emotionally numb to everything that's going on. But historically, when you go back and look at how society was and the actual going back scenario, usually this happens when right after industrialization, right after wars or technical leaps, and then you have a lot of our leaders that talk about returning back to normal, you know, because that kind of calms the population and avoids panic, and you know, and it also buys them a little bit of time to do whatever it is that they want to do. But going along with that, by them doing that, their actions kind of say otherwise because of the policies and the comments and the economic models and what's actually going on right now. You know what I mean? So the actual normal wasn't, it was, I'm gonna go back. The actual normal was built on the conditions that no longer exist right now. So like we were saying before, like the cheap energy and the global trust and the social cohesion and all of that we grew up knowing, you know, that we thought was sound is no longer there. And we kind of find ourselves sometimes clinging to that reversal. And it hinders a lot of things that goes on. Because nowadays the
Oh shit, you're muted. How did he get muted?
I
There
did
we
it.
go.
I hit the mouse by accident.
You're good.
But now your stability comes from, like I said, flexibility, your skills and your relationships and your local trust with your friends and your family. When before it was more along the lines of like your career ladder and what steps you was going to go to get to where you needed to be, and you're being able to make those long-term guarantees, instead of making the 1-year plan, the 5-year plan, people were making 10, 15, and 20-year plans. It's just a lot of instability now. So people don't think about that now. Actually, people think about more as of right now and do everything right now, as opposed to making a plan for a year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, because stuff is kind of in flux right now. What do you got, Aaron?
Well, I just wanted to add to that. I mean, like, normal isn't gone because say something failed. Normal is gone because something has changed. I mean, I'm gonna use the example of what's the name of that company that delivers packages that you can order online from to your house?
Amazon.
Amazon, yeah. Amazon's laying off what, 30,000 workers or 35,000? That's 35,000 head of households that is being replaced by AI. They don't need them no more. And what are those people going to do? These are head of households. These are providers that's just trying to make a living for their family. I mean, you're not going to get rich at Amazon, but it was a way of putting food on the table. Now, are they going, and this is at Christmas time. I mean, the timing couldn't be more worse.
Right.
Now, those people can mentally fall into a depression. The stability in their life, that job provided, it's gone. And if it's not gone right now at this moment, they know it's coming up. So what are you going to do? Are you going to collapse and a ball of flesh on the ground and start crying and go into a nervous breakdown? Are you going to become medicated, go to the doctor and get Prozac and Thorazine and lithium? Or are you going to get your body together, nurse that health, keep that good health going? Because once you come up with the plan mentally and you change your mindset, now the body has to be able to carry out what you're going to do. What is your plan of action? Nobody's going to give you nothing. This country is based upon winners. We don't care who came in third or fourth last year in football. We don't care who came in third or fourth in basketball. All we care about is who came in number one. And in that household, if you're a provider, you're number one. So you don't have time to feel sorry for yourself. You got to get out and make things happen. Again, the choice is yours. I'll stop there.
But one good thing about this, though, is that this moment that we're in right now, and actually, it's when we said in previous shows, it's like there's so many things going on right now that to me, I feel it's a good time to be allowed to be able to experience everything that's going on right now, because there's a lot to it. But this moment isn't punishment. It's more of an exposure. And I'm going to tell you what I mean by that, because this era that we're in right now is revealing what systems are fragile, what relationships were shallow that we didn't need, that we needed to get rid of, and what goals that were borrowed. Many people will feel that grief. They, for lost timelines and for, imagined futures that they have for themselves that didn't work out. Like I said, people wanting to go back to school or wanting to do a particular job that they just kept putting off until it was too late. That letting go of that normal. But if you do let go of that normal, that it creates a lot of space for your actual authentic goals, your purpose without permission. One of the things I know, Mike, you probably know this. I always say it. I say it all the time. I've been, especially you know, for being a biker and everything else, I always say, I'd rather ask for forgiveness than your permission.
That's right. Always.
And that's what a lot of this is. It's purpose without permission. I don't have to ask you to do anything. I'm just going to do it. You know what I mean? And because, like you think, time waits for no one. You know what I mean? And while we keep sitting back waiting for things to happen and to go the way we want it to go, as opposed to just stepping out. Sometimes just stepping out on faith, not knowing what the outcome is going to be, is sometimes your best way to go, because you don't know what's going on, which means you can't interfere with it. You can't put your own spin to it. It happens the way it is supposed to happen, that normal progression without your interference. Because a lot of times people stand in their own way. I mean,
happens
I
all
did
the
it
time.
a lot of times.
That's
Sometimes
what
you
happens
just
in
gotta-
stocks.
Right.
People emotionally, you know, they're like, I can't handle this, and then they sell and the worst possible fucking time, and then they buy at the worst time. You know, it's people can't wither that kind of shit. It's hard for people to do that. Like for me, for instance, my stocks are down by like I don't know, at this point like 35%, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? It is what it is, and guess what? I don't buy or sell my stock based off of emotion, which is what the market is. It's reflective of human emotion for the most part. And people don't know how to weather those storms. Understanding that I am in it for the business, not for what the emotions are.
You know, go ahead, Aaron.
Okay. I would like to define two terms right now. One is institutional trust and another one is local trust. You know, where should people put their faith? Because that determines the amount of stability that you're going to have. Institutional trust represents the belief in the reliability of social structures and organizations like corporations, government, things like that. Local trust is where more faith and responsibility is placed in communities to transform the lives and places where they live. Do you trust in the institutions? Do you trust locally? Do you take a blend of both? I mean, we know right now, January 15th, between January 15th and January 30th, the government's going to shut down again. That Band-Aid that they put on it was temporary, and it was only going to extend to January 15th, 18th. Are people positioning themselves? Are they going all out for Christmas and going into debt to where it's going to take May or June of next year to pay off the debt, when the government might be shutting back down here shortly? Do we trust institutional trust, those that didn't get their EBT benefits? That's institutional trust right there. Do we trust that Uncle Sam is going to be flush with cash? Are the Democrats and Republicans going to come together? Can we trust them to iron out a budget and come January 15th say, well, we're not shutting down the government? Or are we going to be back in the same position we was in? And if that's the case, that takes away confidence right there. And then the local trust, you're counting on a community that you're building and hoping that if all hell is burning down around you, you're still going to make it, because but again, do you put all your eggs in one basket here, or do you spread out that risk across different avenues and take a shotgun approach? So if any one fails, then you've got something to fall back on. You know, it's all comes down to, again, mental mindset and discipline to carry out whatever you come up with. But let me stop there.
You know, I seen a article the other day. Hold on, where did I do with it? Let me see. Here we go. It was three things on here. It said that people with multiple skills or multiple income streams sleep better than someone with one secure job, even if they earn less money. Another one says that people rely more on families, neighborhoods, and side networks and local groups than on distant systems they no longer can trust. And the people who stay calm during chaos becomes the leader, not the loudest or the most credited, but the one who can actually stay calm and be able to, look at what's going on, adapt, make out a plan, and be able to overcome what's going on.
Yeah. Not
Um,
respond emotionally.
You're right. That's the Charlie Munger formula that you just said there, Archbishop. That's right. Being the man that is cool, calm, and collected when everyone else is losing their shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing. And a lot of the stuff that we be talking about, like off the air, like when me and Aaron going back and forth, even when we all sitting here talking together, and we're talking about the different things that we know is going on and how we are working it out to be able to prepare for these different situations. Yep. And that's where that calmness comes in, that because once you hear it and you see it, you automatically know what you need to do. There is no hesitation. You know exactly what you need to do and what's progression you have to go in order to be able to get it all done. You know what I mean? Where most people would actually, panic and run for the hills, we can actually, stand still and be like, okay, I know I need to do X, Y, Z. I need to put this in place first. I need to do this. I need to do this. And you have it there at your disposal. You don't got to run and find it. You have it there. And you know exactly what it is that you need to do. And I think a lot of people need to start adapting to that. You know what I mean? We talk about it all the time. And we push it out on the show all the time about being prepared and getting things together and stuff like that. And we do that for a reason that keeps you from being in chaos, from being this group, that keeps you more prepared. And if you take some of this stuff and actually apply it, not just to if something goes on, but apply it to your actual personal life and what you actually do on a day-to-day basis, it shows without saying that you can be able to handle whatever you need to do without a problem, no matter what the situation is. You be able to adapt and overcome. So we sitting here pretty close. We're gonna shut this down right at an hour. I know a lot of people sitting over here watching Trump right now on these other stations, trying to see what it is he's getting ready to say.
That's exactly what I'm about to do.
Yeah. So we're gonna tone it down. But what I wanted to say before we end is that this episode that we did tonight was not about fear. It's about release, and knowing that your normal, or what you conceive to be normal, is not coming back. And that's not a loss unless you keep chasing for it. The people who thrive on the what's next won't be the loudest. They won't be the angriest. They'll be the ones that stopped waiting and started building. Mm-hmm. If this episode gave you some kind of clarity, share it with someone who's been in that stump waiting. And remember that the future doesn't reward nostalgia. It rewards courage. I want to thank everyone for coming out, like always. Like, follow, share, subscribe. Hit that like button before you leave, both on Mike's page and on Mike's page. If you're on my page, go on Mike's page and subscribe to his channel. If you're on Mike's page, come on my channel and subscribe as well.
Right.
We can keep this pushing. And like I said, hit that like button. That is the most. That is better than any money that you can put on here. Hit that like button, because believe it or not, a lot of stuff that we've been talking about here recently, YouTube don't like it, and they've been shadow banning the shit out of me. So, but if you hit that like, or if you come in and hit the comments after the show, put some stuff in them comments that pushes us, that keeps pushing it out there. So even if they try to push it down to the bottom, we can keep pushing it back up.
Yeah, just drop a fire emoji at the end. You know what I mean?
Real simple.
Yep.
Just keep it going, because like I said, you know, we thrive, us three, we thrive on putting out the truth. And believe it or not, a lot of the people and the powers that be do not want the truth to come out there.
That's right.
But we're not going to be the ones that's going to sit back any longer and let these lies continue to be told. So we're going to continue to push out the truth, whether they like it or not. But it's up to you guys that's watching to be able to hit that button and we can keep it out there. And the more people that we can watch these videos and see what it is that we're talking about and go back and look at this stuff themselves, then the more people that we can actually be able to help when a lot of this stuff goes on. So appreciate you. Like always, like, follow, share, subscribe. If you're not on the Facebook, go on the Diamond Effect on Facebook. We put a lot of different stuff on there. Also hit the little QR code at the top for the Diamond Effect site. We play a lot of the old shows. There's a lot of stuff we have, a lot of T-shirts, hats, all different kind of stuff in there. And if you become a member, this opens up to another section with a lot of different products there that you wouldn't normally see. Naomi is also some stuff there with Mike's face on it, so you may want to get it.
Shit.
But next week we'll have something else for you. See, actually next week is what, Christmas Eve, right? So we'll have another story out for you next week. And until then, peace and love. I'll see y'all next week. Go ahead, Aaron.
Okay. I want to say this. Start thinking strategically, change your mindset, start making quiet moves. Don't tell everybody what you're doing, because everyone's not going to have your best interests at heart. And there'll be those along your path that's going to try to trip you up or derail you. And you don't want to appear to be bragging to your family or friends and create jealousy there. But start making some quiet moves, start putting things in place. Like I said, what if I told you the government's going to shut down January 15th? Can you stop it from happening? No. But can you position yourself to make it through? If I told you digital ID and digital currency is going to occur by 2028, can you stop it from happening? No. But you have the opportunity to start now to position yourself to weather the storm. I mean, if you saw a tornado coming, are you going to pull up a lawn chair and eat a little cheese, drink a little wine, smoke a little dope? Or are you going to take cover and go into a basement somewhere? You can't stop the tornado, but you can weather the storm.
I'm doing both. I'm doing both.
Okay. But I mean, the goal is to weather the storm. You want to be the heads that's counted at the end. I learned the hard way under Reagan. All my friends lost their homes and cars. I worked in the auto industry. I was laid off for 3 years. Stagflation happened. We had the tariffs. We had everything that we've got going on now, but we had stagflation then that we don't have. I had to liquidate CDs, money market, annuities, stocks. I sold all my gold that I bought at $70 an ounce and had to sell it for right around $220 an ounce. And I regret that. I tell Mike and Bishop about that all the time. I should have been thinking long-term with precious metals for retirement. That would have been the perfect vehicle. And now I'm thinking long-term for building generational wealth for the next generation, my daughter, my grandchildren. These are ways that we got to position ourselves. But all action first begins with a thought. And then you got to have the physical health to be able to carry it out. That's the best advice I can give you. And I say bye.
All right. Much love, honor, and respect to everybody. Obviously, we can't do this shit without you guys. So much love and respect to you guys out there. Make sure you guys hit that like button as well as double tap the screen on the vertical sides. Listen, we're going to be back here in 7 days, of course. Nonetheless, big thanks to Archbishop and Aaron for what you guys do. And we always have such a great conversation at the end, or the whole time. It's just action packed, full of just information, man. And you guys really throw it down each week. So very much appreciated. Appreciate you guys as well as the panelists. And stick around. We're going to be rating our buddy Grid One Motorsports here at the end. So let them know that we're coming through with the raid. All right, you guys. We'll see you guys here in 7 days.